What up, people? Final Fantasy 16 is one of the most highly anticipated games coming out this year, and we're only a week away from release. This game is on many people's list for potential game of the year, and it's easy for me to see why. But maybe you're still on the fence or not that hyped for the game yet. With promises of a dark story, fluid combat, and iconic moments, there's plenty of things to be hyped about, and I'm here to tell you about them. So, without any more delay, here are the top 10 reasons you should be excited for Final Fantasy 16. One of the first reasons to be excited is the fact that Final Fantasy 16 will be exclusive to the PlayStation 5. Many people have been upset with how so many games are still being developed for last-gen consoles, as they feel it lowers the overall quality of the game because they can't take full advantage of the hardware the current-gen consoles have. Luckily, developers decided early on to scrap making the PS4 version, as it would have delayed the release of the game 1 or 2 more years. It sucks for the people who don't or can't get a PS5, but personally, I think this choice will lead to an overall better product. Next up is a reason I know a lot of people who are new to the franchise will be happy about, and it's the fact that you don't need to play any previous Final Fantasy games to play 16. You can just jump right in. I know most people watching this might already know this, but I feel like every time a new Final Fantasy game comes out, this question gets asked by people new to the franchise. So yeah, don't worry about playing Final Fantasy 3, 4, 7, 12, none of those. Just play 16. Speaking of newbies, Final Fantasy 16 goes above and beyond to make this game fun and accessible to not only hardcore gamers, but people who might be new to action games as well. There are timely accessories you can equip to help you with various things like executing combos, evading attacks, or healing yourself during a fight. If you don't feel like figuring out which abilities you want to unlock and upgrade in the skill tree, just let the game do it for you. The game also provides a story-focused mode that automatically equips those timely accessories I talked about earlier, which takes a lot of the stress away in regards to combat and lets the player focus on the story. While I personally can't see myself using any of these features, I'm always a huge advocate of developers adding those features in so more people can play and enjoy the game in a way that suits them and their individual skill level. A major reason I'm personally excited about Final Fantasy 16 is the story. It revolves around the main character Clive, who is the shielded Grand Duchy of Rosaria. The game takes place in the realm of Valisthea and will also take place during pivotal moments of Clive's teens, 20s, and 30s. The reason I'm personally excited for the story is because Final Fantasy 16 will be the first ever M-rated game in the franchise. The game was given this rating specifically because of the story the developers and the writers wanted to tell. I love RPGs, but a lot of times the stories have the same tone, and honestly, it'll be really exciting to see what an M-rated Final Fantasy story will look like. While we're on the subject of story, whether it's TV, comics, movies, or video games, I'm a big fan of lore and world building. I feel it's an essential way to flesh out and give layers to characters, as well as the world and regions they inhabit. In Final Fantasy 16, players will get plenty of ways to get all the lore they could ask for. Lordsman Hippocrates will unlock tomes providing secrets of Valisthea as you update him on how your adventures is going. Some of those secrets will involve history and customs at Valisthea, such as local climate, folklore, religion, and traditions. The more you tell him, the more he'll tell you. Vivian Ninetales is a military scholar who also provides information, and she'll give you insight into various character relationships and also the state of the world during specific time periods. There's also a really cool feature called the Active Time Lore, where you can pause the game and get useful and important details involving the characters currently on screen. Think of it like Prime Video, where you pause it and you can see all the actors and stuff like that. It's similar to that. It'll also give you background on locations, factions, and other useful information as well. As someone who's played a lot of games, JRPGs especially, where the story can become a little convoluted and hard to keep track of, all the features to keep players informed and enjoying everything the narrative has to offer is very much appreciated. I always love a good base or hub world, and the Hideaway would seem like it'll be no different. After progressing a little bit through the game, you'll gain access to the Hideaway, where you can purchase your weapons, armor, and medicine like any standard RPG. A virtual training mode is available to practice combos with the new equipment you've acquired, and there's an arcade mode where you can try to get a high score and beat out other players across the world. The Hideaway is also the place to get all the info regarding all the side quests currently available in Valisthea. While nothing I mentioned is very groundbreaking, it seems like a solid base to spend some extended time, and maybe there will be more things revealed upon release. Okay, let's move over to combat. Final Fantasy 16 will be the first true action RPG in the series, as all battles take place in real time, meaning there will be no turn-based combat at all. Clive will learn abilities from the icons he encounters as you progress through the story, and while I'm usually not a fan of fast-paced action games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, I was a big fan of Tales of Arise, and plus the state of play really made the combat look fun and fluid, so I'm actually looking forward to it. Throughout the game, some of your friends that you meet will assist you during combat. Unlike other games of Final Fantasy, you will only control Clive during fights, and the AI-driven companions will adapt to your decisions and actions as you fight. Your Hound Torgal will also be a companion who, unlike others, will act on his own, but you can still give him direct commands if need be. Honestly, I've gone back and forth about whether I personally like this decision or not. but I've decided to just trust the developers and assume that this playstyle is preferable to being able to control all your party members for this specific game. I might be more personally excited about this one than others, but during the state of play, they revealed a hunt board being available where you can go hunt down monsters to slay, and the difficulty of the contract will depend on the rank of the monster. I've always been a fan of monster contracts and RPGs thanks to Witcher 3, especially because they usually give you pretty nice rewards in exchange. I'm hoping that's going to be the same case of Final Fantasy 16, as I can see myself spending a lot of time in the game just being a hired mercenary. The last thing you should be excited about is what the developers have said is the most epic part of the game, which are Eikons, specifically the Eikon battles. Eikons are the most powerful and deadly creatures in Valisthea, wielded by Dominants. Dominants are people who are born with the ability to host Eikons, who then engage in Eikon vs. Eikon battles. Just like combat with Clive, Eikon vs. Eikon battles play out in real time. Other than the overall story, I'm probably the most excited for these Eikon battles solely based on how epic they look. The developers have promised that these Eikon battles will all feel different, and based off what I've seen in the state of play, they weren't lying. One battle is a rail shooter like Kid Icarus, next is a one-on-one brawl like Street Fighter, and I believe I saw clips of a battle that was just WWE wrestling. Boss battles are usually my least favorite part of games, especially in RPGs, because I tend to enjoy the story and overall adventure more. However, I can easily see the Eikon battles being the most fun, challenging, and memorable part of Final Fantasy 16 by far. Alright, that's it for me, people. Are you looking forward to Final Fantasy 16? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with the channel. Later!